Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on PowerFX, the language that brings your Power apps to life and turns them from just static pictures into real, interactive tools.
So, picture this. You're building an app. The screens look great, the buttons are all there, but then you hit a wall. You need the app to actually do something. You need it to think, to calculate, to react when a user taps the screen. But where do you even begin if you're not a professional coder?
Well, the answer is this amazing thing called PowerFX. And here's the best part. If you've ever typed a formula into an Excel spreadsheet, like a I equals sum or something simple, you're already halfway there. It uses that exact same kind of thinking, but instead of just one cell, it applies to your entire application.
Seriously, you should think of these formulas as the secret sauce for your app. They're what takes a collection of pretty screens and buttons and transforms them into a dynamic tool that actually solves a real-world problem.
And the really good news? You don't have to go learn some crazy, complicated programming language from the ground up. PowerFX is actually built from just a few simple, easy-to-grasp pieces that you can snap together to create some seriously powerful results.
So when it comes right down to it, everything in PowerFX really boils down to just 4 fundamental building blocks. Get a handle on these 4 things, and I promise you'll have the keys to the kingdom. You'll be able to read, write, and even fix almost any formula you come across.
Okay, first up, functions. These are your action words, your verbs. They do the work. You give them some information, they perform a job, and they give you a result back. A super simple example, square root of 25. You give it the number 25, it does its thing, and boom, it hands you back 5. Simple as that.
Next up, we've got signals. The best way to think about these is like your app's built-in sensors. They are constantly aware of the environment around them. They don't need you to give them any input, they just report back what they sense. For example, the location signal can tell you the device's exact GPS coordinates. Pretty cool, huh?
Then there are enumerations. These are basically just preset choices. I mean, who wants to memorize the weird hex code for the color red? Nobody. So instead, you can just type color.red. It just makes your formulas so much cleaner and way easier for you or anyone else to read down the line.
And last but not least, we've got named operators. Oh, these are fantastic little shortcuts. For instance, when you're working inside a gallery that displays a list of items, instead of writing some long, complicated formula to get the data for one specific row, you just use this item. It's a huge time saver. Trust me.
All right, so that's the theory, right? The 4 building blocks. But how does this all actually work in a real app? Let's bridge that gap from theory to reality and see how these pieces come together to make things happen on the screen.
Okay, check this out. This is a perfect example. On the left, you see a list of cities, just all jumbled up. But look what happens when we use a sort function, one of those verbs we just talked about. We just wrap our data source in that one simple word, and instantly on the right, it's all perfectly alphabetized. That one formula makes the app so much better for the user with almost no effort.
But here's something you might not realize. Formulas aren't just for things you see, like sorting a list. Some of the most powerful logic in your app runs before the user even sees screen number 1. This all happens in a special property called onStart. It's the perfect place to get everything set up and ready for your user.
And this right here is a classic onStart task. We're using the set function to create something called a variable, and we're naming it current user. And what value are we storing in it? Well, we use another function, user, which grabs the profile of the person who is currently logged in. So with one line of logic, we've stored that user's info where we can access it on any screen in the app.
So, why does that matter? Who cares? Well, because with that one current user variable, the whole experience can become personal. You can greet the user by their actual name, you can check if they're an administrator to show or hide certain buttons, you can load their saved preferences, you can even filter a huge list to show only the items that belong specifically to them. This is how you make an app feel like it was made just for them.
Okay, so you've seen the building blocks and you've seen them in action. Now let's talk strategy. How do you actually write these things without getting overwhelmed? A simple, repeatable workflow is the absolute key.
And here it is, your 3-step formula workflow. First, start simple, then build. Don't try to write a massive, complex formula all at once. Start with one piece. Second, think computationally. Before you even type, break your goal down into tiny logical steps. And third, test and check the docs. Test as you go, and seriously, make the official documentation your best friend. It's an invaluable resource.
So, as we start to wrap up, I want to leave you with one final and, I think, crucial piece of perspective as you begin your own journey with PowerFX.
If you go and look at the official documentation, you'll see there are over 210 functions available. And, seeing a number like that can feel a little intimidating.
But here's the secret. You absolutely do not need to memorize all of them. Not even close. Mastery isn't about knowing every single function. It's about deeply understanding those core concepts we talked about and just knowing how to find the right tool when you need it. You can build incredibly powerful, game-changing apps with just a handful of the most common ones.
So, the only question left is this. What problem will your first formula solve? The building blocks are all here. Now it's your turn to start building something amazing.